Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today. Now, a year and a half ago I did a series of videos on ancient sites in the US. Lately I'm going to be talking about a few of those sites I talked about back then, some of the more important ones, with some new information, and I know I have a lot of new subs. But one of the more famous sites in the ancient US is Serpent Mound, and this is what it looks like here on Google Earth. One of the more impressive ancient earthworks, maybe the most impressive one we have from ancient times in the present day United States. And this is over 2 football fields long, and up at the head here you see what they say is a snake's head devouring an egg. This is what it looks like here on top of a bluff, and here is the spiral tail. And I did one video a couple years ago, but all I talked about really was my first impressions of the symbolism of Serpent Mound, and I really didn't go into too many of the facts. So I'm going to just bring up a few of the facts today. But one thing that should be mentioned is this area here. Geological research has shown that a meteorite struck here in very ancient times, so I thought that should be mentioned. And another thing that should be mentioned is there are mounds around Serpent Mound, and some of them have been destroyed, but you can still see the remnants of a few ancient structures here besides Serpent Mound. But I wanted to go over to a website here. This is what Serpent Mound looks like with all the trees gone. And just as with so many other ancient sites from around the world, it is built on a rock precipice or a rock point. And if you think about other ancient sites from around the world, so many are built near, or what you could say is a rock point. And did the ancients know about earth energies? And a few theories are these rock points were power points, where they were really using the Earth's energy. And is that why Serpent Mound was built on this rock point? Well, that is all up for speculation. And as far as the age of Serpent Mound, you'll get a lot of different theories. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I really don't know when Serpent Mound was built, and I believe it should all be held with just great speculation because there are so many theories. On this website here, this is Indian Country Today Media, and this is a very good article on Serpent Mound. They say history got it wrong. Scientists now say Serpent Mound is as old as Aristotle. Some theories have Serpent Mound built about 1,000 years ago, and this says it is about 2,300 years old, or well over 2,000 years old. So you get a lot of different views on Serpent Mound and exactly how old it is. And they also go into the Adena culture and the Fort Ancient culture and the late woodland culture and other theories on Serpent Mound. And I don't think we have a clue to who built Serpent Mound, when, and why. I don't think there is any solid theories that explain it, to my satisfaction at least. And on this website, 30 ancient serpent mounds around North America. And a lot of this was new to me when I read this website. Alabama, California serpent mounds. Here we have one near Mount Shasta. Other serpent mounds. Here we have a pretty famous one in Florida that a lot of people know about. Again, maybe the head of the snake devouring an egg. We have a mound here in Georgia snaking its way through the forest overgrowth, just sitting there in the form of a serpent. Illinois, a serpent mound eating the egg. Indiana, we have a serpent mound, and this one, it used to be in Ohio. This was 10 times longer than the serpent mound, the famous Serpent Mound, but this was destroyed by a gravel company, I guess, and this is a depiction of it in 1892. A lot of ruins in the United States have just been bulldozed or totally destroyed or erased, and that is a real shame. A serpent mound 10 times longer than the famous one that I just showed you at the beginning of the video. That's a true crime that was destroyed, and people were really I don't know, I don't want to say, but people 100 years ago destroyed a lot of history in the United States. I'll just say that. Here is a postcard depicting a serpentine creature in Indiana. And here you just see how the forest has just kind of overgrown this serpent structure. In Iowa, we have one. The swirling tail. Kansas, there is depictions of an old serpent mound. And there are other ones. Kentucky, here is some in Minnesota near Pipestone, a famous site where Native Americans used to travel for many hundreds of miles to get materials, stone material, for different things they needed it for. And here is Grand Mound near the Canadian border, near International Falls, Minnesota. And I did a video on the lost history of Grand Mound, where this Grand Mound has a snake-like tail coming off it. This has just been overgrown and not studied very well. And I don't think they really know what they have up there in northern Minnesota. I also did this video on the Blythe Antilios. The same thing you find on Serpent Mound here, the 3 coils of the tail and the snake's head eating the egg. This is in Southern California. South Dakota, there's a serpent on a hill on Snake Butte. Did a video about that. And it is obvious that there are many ancient mounds, and they come from every corner of the United States, and here are more of them on this website, and I will leave this. This is moundbuilderblogspot.com. So it is clear to me that we had a whole culture spread out all across the United States, that the serpent was a main part of their symbolism. And what that symbolism means, serpents have been depicted in ancient cultures all the way back. In Egypt here, you see the crown of Tutankhamun with a vulture and a cobra. People say this was signifying the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. And I also think it also had to do with the underworld and the heavens. Birds were the connections, the Egyptians' connections to the heavens. And the snake definitely could have represented something from the underworld. And here, the famous Dendera light bulb with the snake did have something to do with energy. And here on this website, it goes over some of the snake symbolism from ancient times. The Iranian god Taru, it goes over here, the dragon of destruction. In ancient times, the cataclysmic forces of nature were personified as a great cosmic dragon or serpent. The alternative historian Immanuel Velikovsky theorized that the dragon was equated with destruction because of their similarity to cometary bodies that once wrought havoc on the earth. And here we have Hercules slaying Ladon, the great serpent guarding the tree in the Garden of Hesperides. And of course we have the serpent in the Garden of Eden in the biblical tale. Here we have a Grecian shrine or altar depicting the serpent of wisdom. And here we have an ancient relief that I find interesting. We have the same 3-coiled tail. It says a relief from Samothrace depicting neophytes being initiated into the Kabiri, an ancient pre-Grecian mystery religion. And I brought up in my old Serpent Mound video that does this 3-coiled tail represent our place in the solar system, the Earth being the 3rd rock from the Sun, often depicted as the 3rd loop out from the middle? And does it have something to do with creation? In my Snake Butte video, I bring up in other videos, and I will leave links below. It says the Mayan vision serpent was their link to their creator god, and it kind of had to do with just their link between the heavenly plane and the earthly plane. That was the serpent to the Mayans. And of course we have the feathered plume serpent and the bearded serpent coming from Mesoamerica. And here we have, of course, the caduceus with the serpents. But what did the symbolism mean to this ancient race that was spread across every corner of the United States? I've showed you from Florida to California to northern Minnesota. What did this really represent? And I will leave that up to my subscribers to leave their comments in the comment section, because really I think it is all up for speculation. And one thing that should be brought up is good work has shown how different areas of this giant serpent effigy were aligned to important positions of the sun on solstices and equinoxes and other heavenly bodies. So I think this was a definite, it did have definite alignments to the sun, and I believe to the moon also. And if you know anything more about that, you can leave that in the comment section also. But who was this widespread culture that was using the serpent symbolism everywhere in the ancient United States? Well, I think it is all up for speculation. I don't think there's any solid answers. We had an ancient culture that was using this serpent symbolism everywhere. Who this was, why they did this, and when they did this, I believe it is all up for speculation. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you have a nice day.